It's the first week in a while we haven't had a digital video game showcase, so what are we going to talk about? What up, viewers? What up? What up? Today is August 1st, Saturday, August 1st, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Starting off this week was a video game release. We don't have those in the summer. What's this about? Honey, I Shrunk the Video Game, or as Obsidian Entertainment wants to call it, Grounded, is a game where is a survival game where you play as a group of kids who have been shrunk. You have to uncover the mysteries behind why they've been shrunk. I don't typically play early access games. I thought this game was actually ready, so that's why I downloaded it and started playing it via Game Pass. And it has crossplay. I think I had a friend buy it on Steam, and so we were able to play quite easily. Yeah, the game's fun. It's got giant spiders, and it even comes up with like arachnophobia settings that turn the spiders into like kind of amorphous white blobs. But you know, if you're afraid of spiders, they wanted to make sure that this game didn't freak you out too much or push you away, because I think it's aiming a little bit more towards a younger audience. But yeah, I think the game is deep. I think it looks ready to go. You start in and you're like running around trying to make simple things and kill very small bugs so that you can make product, you know, typical survival stuff. I think the game looks really good. I'm excited to play more of it. And yeah, the game is very interesting. So let me know if you picked it up, what you think of the game so far. But yeah, I'm really excited that this game came out. I've been excited for it. Well, the Xbox Series X showcase was just a week ago, and Obsidian had their whole section. But I was really excited to see that this is coming out. So if you have Game Pass or you want to buy it on Steam, I think it's fun. I would recommend. Had a slight lie in my cold open. There was a showcase this week. It was for the Avengers. This is the Avengers video games second war table was this week, and they spent a good 10-15 minutes talking about their beta and what type of content would be in their beta, and how there would be like a series of hero missions. There'd be a couple cooperative, I don't know what their word for it, but I think of like Destiny Strikes. But there would be a couple cooperative kind of like end game that you would play through. And then they had a stinger at the end where they're going to add Hawkeye, but he's going to be the first DLC character. So they went into details on the pre-order. There's a pre-order beta, and then there's the open beta. The pre-order beta is a week from, next weekend, August 7th through the 9th. And the open beta is 2 weeks after that, August 21st to 23rd. Big news around a Nintendo data hack. Hackers have found what the industry is calling Gigaleak. Is a giant Nintendo backdoor that they found in order to get source code for video games, which is really rare. Like, source code is typically nowhere to be found, and so the ability to like get these very old games and their source code is very unique, and they've been mining the crap out of it. They've found like original Yoshi art. They've concept art. They've found unbuilt levels or unfinished levels, or at least maybe even finished levels that didn't make it into the full game for like Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. Yeah, there's just something coming out like every day. There's Luigi in Mario 64, which is a character that I don't think appears in the game. So yeah, they're just digging through, data mining this content to see just what they've found, and condemn the people who found this weird, like 20 or 30-year-old backdoor way into the Nintendo content. But we're finding a lot of really unique stuff in there. So take it with a grain of salt, I guess. In a rather strange move, EA wants less money for their video game. I thought this was very, very strange. EA announced that their Star Wars Squadrons, the cockpit shooter game that's coming out on October 2nd, is only $40. Now, the pricing of games is, I think, is an art and not a science necessarily. But the idea of like a big AAA video game publisher only selling a game for $40, like I'm part of that group that just gets like the knee jerk reaction of like, what's wrong with it? Now, I know that's wrong, and that games can be launched at any price, and they can still have just the same quality. And EA even cited that like it just doesn't have the length and breadth of content that we would want in a $60 game. But with a Star Wars IP and coming out of EA, I figured you could just slap $60 on the side of that and ship it out, and I think it would sell. But then I guess they're trying to avoid the knockback of if there's only like 5 to 10 hours of content in the game and then the rest of it's multiplayer. I think people would rage online, and they don't want that blowback. So we'll have to see what the actual game entails, but $40 for a Star Wars cockpit shooter, good to me. Stardew Valley is making a series of physical editions of their game, both base game as well as collector's editions for Nintendo Switch and PC. The collector's edition comes with like a series of pins and stickers and posters that you would expect, but the really cute part is that they have a deed, like a physical deed, because the idea behind Stardew Valley is you get the deed to a farm and you have to keep it up and running. For those of you who don't know, but yeah, I just thought the physical deed like looked really cool. It looked like there's a lot of cute artwork put into it. So I've never actually played Stardew Valley, but I think that this is a very cool addition to the game. I like physical editions. I like collector's editions, so I might pick this up and maybe dabble around with Stardew Valley. It's August now, so the PS Plus games, we have to know about PS Plus and Xbox Live games. The PS Plus games for this month are Modern Warfare 2, the remastered campaign, and Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, which that was strange because I just saw that at the Devolver Digital, and that was meant to launch on August 4th, I believe. But it's free for PS Plus, so I think they're trying to get a lot of people into their ecosystem. I think Rocket League kind of is one of those types of games where like everybody got in the PS Plus, and then the player base just skyrocketed. I'm surprised that the game is launching, but also going on PS Plus. That doesn't necessarily mean negative sales. I think people are always talking about, or Game Pass is always selling like people see rises in sales because you get the word of mouth marketing. And this is a smaller, Devolver is a smaller publisher, and so maybe they're trying to get some word of mouth marketing out of being in PS Plus and get players into their ecosystem. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, I think, actually looks like a really cool party game. The previous Fall Guys game was the like weird stick figure one where you're trying to like push people off of ledges and stuff. And this one's going to be a bit more. I think someone used the term Bumble Royale, which I thought was a pretty funny term for it, where you're just kind of like bumbling through and maybe eventually you'll win. But yeah, I think this is a play to get people into their bolster their player base, which cool. Maybe I'll play that on PlayStation 4. I've been following the military Twitch ban stuff on the internets a lot, and so we got a little progress we got some progress this week. AOC has talked to the House, and she said that I actually watched like the 3-minute video that'll be linked down below. She talks about how like the Marines say we don't want to gamify or glorify war, and so she tried to bring that in and she talked through the entire practice in front of. She talked to the House of Representatives, and she went through the whole process of how they're using recruiting practices to target severe minors, like down to 12 or 13-year-olds. How they have this fake potential giveaway where there's no way, where all the details we've seen in the last couple of weeks. She walked through each of them point by point. sounds like it got shot down. I think some of that has to do, and in the article they talk about how the senators probably just don't know what Twitch is, and they went through like the average age of a senator is like 60, so they might not really get the whole Fortnite crowd. So I think hopefully AOC, this doesn't stop her and she continues to press it forward. I think it is really gross, the recruitment practices that are being targeted to very young kids. And so I hope that something more comes of it. And if not, Twitch viewers will continue to shout them down if they try and come back. So yeah, I'm glad that the community is pushing back on this, because I think it's gross. So moving right along, Gabe Newell has picked a side in the console wars. Gabe Newell, the founder of Valve and Steam, the Gabe has picked a side, and it is Xbox Series X. Now I see alternative motives behind this, because Xbox is very much pushing this PC console kind of like union of gaming, and PlayStation 4 is very much trying to sell hardware and doing it very successfully. But so I have to take his opinion with a grain of salt, because I think he having PC gamers be half of, or be a focal point from Microsoft and Xbox is good for Steam. Even going back to Grounded, like Grounded started climbing up the Steam sales charts because it's coming out on both Xbox and Steam and on PC, and so he just wants more. I think he just wants more people in his ecosystem, and every Xbox Game Pass owner who is on PC is probably also potentially getting other games on PC. So he just wants people on into the PC ecosystem, and I think Microsoft and Steam will both benefit from it. But he's picked a side. He is a Xbox Series X fan, so take that for what it's worth. Finally, we're getting some more Splinter Cell content, but it's not the way that you think it is. We are getting an animated TV series on Netflix, so you can add that to the giant pile of video game related IP, TV or movie content that's coming down the pipe, from the Amazon. The Amazon Fallout. I think it's Amazon is doing Fallout. You got the Cuphead TV show, but that's actually coming out relatively soon, so you don't have to wait too long for that. There's the Monster Hunter World movie, or Monster Hunter movie. There's plenty of video game related IPs that are all getting the Last of Us series from HBO. So Hollywood has definitely been mining the video game IPs for content for their streaming platforms. And Splinter Cell is the latest one. Again, I think Ubisoft is trolling us by or memeing at us by not giving us a Splinter Cell video game that everyone definitely wants. Last but certainly not least, Ubisoft released information this week that they were working on an Arthurian video game, and they recently canned that idea, but it was supposed to be coming from one of the main designers behind Dragon Age. And as someone who is very much in love with Arthurian fiction and has very much an Arthurian fiction itch this week because of what I recently watched, Cursed, I was really interested in seeing this content and seeing what that would come of it. So it probably would have looked a lot like a typical Ubisoft sandbox, exploring game, but with the Dragon Age elements, I think it would have been good. Cool. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this content. If you do, feel free to follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. Thanks again. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye.